Our next guest is in Singapore, and the sun is definitely not shining right there right now because it happens to be almost 4 in the morning there. So very much thanks to Luke Tan for getting up and being part of our podcast today. So Luke lives there with his wife and his business partner, Emily, who's a plant-based chef and an ultra runner, and they both have a daughter whom they are raising vegan. And Luke is just an amazing person, and I want to hear about how you two met, but and I had the pleasure of meeting him too at your summit. So Luke's published a book called Awaken Alive, which is about harnessing your potential through a plant-based lifestyle. And he's a former bodybuilder who did really well in competitions as a vegan. But now he's a CrossFit athlete who can do the flag, by the way,
I know.
which is, oh my gosh. And he's a fitness coach with a vegan brand called The Awake Method. He also is the founder of the Plant Fit Summit, which is in its third year we're going to be talking about because you've been a guest on it for 3 consecutive years, and it's coming out really soon. So anybody interested, sign up. It's free, right, to listen to all these amazing people.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary experience, and that is how we first got connected. Speaking of how we met in 2017, when Luke and his partner in the Plant Fit Summit, Toby, invited me to be a guest, and it was like absolutely just they have done the most extraordinary summit in bringing together every single nutritionist, dietitian, MD, philosopher, author, athletes. It's so packed. And this is their third year, and it's going to go from August 31st to September 8th. And they have just a lineup to die for.
And you don't have to be in Singapore to attend because you can access all this wonderful information in these interviews online. I mean, I've signed up for these kind of summits, and they're fantastic. If you don't have the time to hear all of them right then, you can purchase the DVDs later. But if you can hear as many as you can in this 8-day period, you can really get inspired to.
Yeah. And we're going to share at the end of the show the link to come into so they can watch.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, Luke, I wanted to start off because you look so fit and healthy now, but as a child, you really struggled with not only your weight, but your health. And can we start right there about a little bit about where you were as a child in terms of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, I grew up as a sick and fat kid. I was one of the fat kids in class. And funny when I think back about those times, because I was the few fat kids in the school, and now it's not the case. But when I was younger, I had nephrotic syndrome. I had kidney disease. I also had epilepsy and chronic asthma. I remember waking up in about 4 a.m. around this time and knocking on my parents' door saying, "Mom and Dad, I can't breathe." And they would just kind of scramble up and say, "All right, we got to go to the emergency room," because I had chronic asthma, and I was just going to that room. When I was a young kid, I also had nephrotic syndrome, which is a kidney disease. And I was on a whole host of steroids, and it stunted my growth. I was literally ballooning because my kidney could not really process protein, and I was kind of peeing everything out. So as a result, the doctor got me to eat lots of protein. So really my protein journey started when I was a kid. My mom and my doctor had to tell me to eat liver. I mean, thinking in retrospect, I'm just thinking how much of that was actually potentially contributing to my illness, and I was drinking dairy and all that kind of stuff back then as well. So I didn't think about these things. But yeah, I was on a whole host of steroids, and I spent a lot of my younger years in hospital.
So you, in your teen years, you started working out and you got into the gym and bodybuilding. You were still eating even though you were in Singapore, a very Western diet.
I sure
right?
was.
Can you talk to us a little bit about with the lifestyle you were living as a teenager with food and fitness?
Yeah, I think for me, like I said, protein was always my big thing. And one of my favorite meals was steak, baked potato and steak. And I always told my dad I really wanted to go steak. I called myself a carnivore. I was a really big meat eater. And one of my favorite meals was always going to Tony Roma's with my parents, and having a slab of barbecue ribs, having a full slab. So I really love meat, and we used to go to places like Hard Rock Cafe, because all that
They
Western
have all
food
these
was
in Singapore, huh?
yeah. Basically all these Western brands were coming into Singapore, and I remember going to Hard Rock Cafe and going to a few other places, and they had like a bucket of chicken wings, and me and my friends would finish like 50, and then at the same time, I was buying like whey protein and all that kind of stuff. And just thinking back in retrospect, I was like, oh my goodness, what was I doing?
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips.
So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.